Call the city council meeting to order. Roll call.
Mayor Reese,
Here.
Councilmember Osk,
Here.
Nelson,
Here.
Davis,
Here.
Scholdes,
Here.
Osmus,
Here.
O'Brien,
Here.
Butterfield,
Here.
Fagerly. 8 present, 1 absent.
Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Proposed additions or deletions to the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call.
One moment, I'm trying to get everyone online here.
Aren't we doing voice?
Yes, we are. I'm technology here. Councilmember Osk,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Scholdes,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
Osmus,
Aye.
Butterfield,
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
All right, consent items.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the consent agenda this evening. For approval is the City Council minutes of January 2nd, 2024, City Council work session minutes of January 9th, the Utility Commission minutes of January 8th, the Planning Commission draft minutes of January 3rd, Amendment Number 1 to MnDOT Contract 1031715, and the Accounts Payable Report for December 28th, 2023 through January 9th, 2024, and for Council's information, the Director Reports, December Billing Reports, and WMU Financial Reports for November 2023.
I'd offer a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any additions or anybody pulling anything? No? All right, roll call.
Councilmember Osk,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Scholdes,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
Osmus,
Aye.
Butterfield,
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
The motion carries, Mr. Mayor.
Do we have anybody for open forum?
No.
Okay. Regular business, resolution to acknowledge donations for the fourth quarter. This is a roll call. We need a resolution.
Mr. Mayor, for the donations for the fourth quarter for 2023 was an amount of $288 from Sharon Lodge for the Fire Explorers, $200 from Mick Quinn Insurance Agency for the Father-Daughter Dance for 2024, $250 from Francis Hendershot for the Police Explorers, $250 from Francis Hendershot for Willmar Area CERT Program, $1,000 from Candy Ojai Power Charitable Trust for the Willmar Area Community Emergency Response Team, and a $6,000 donation from BNSF for Willmar CERT Program.
All right. I don't think I've got a resolution yet, do I? No. I need a resolution introduced for that.
Just need a motion to accept the resolution.
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Councilmember Osk,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Scholdes,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
Osmus,
Aye.
Butterfield,
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
And our final item, the city hall discussion. Leslie, do you want to?
Well, I could just do a recap, I guess, what we have, so over the last year and plus, what we've done is we've reviewed several ideas as far as having a joint city hall council community center together out at Robbins Island, what we call Robbins Island. We've hired BKV Group to walk us through this process over the last year and a half. They selected 5 sites to start with. By what was the recommendation was to use city properties. They selected 3 properties to start with, which were for community center, 3 sites for the city hall, and they also did 2 sites for the joint building with the city hall and community center. And through that process, we basically have learned that the cost is going to be anywhere from 16 million to about 34 million, 35 million for a joint venture. And we have to keep in mind that those costs are just estimates until the city actually selects a site and really decides and works with an architect on how big the building is and such. We won't know what the exact costs are. The city hall site facility needs is about 28,000 square feet. And the facility needs for the community center were 32,000 square feet throughout that study. And so that's the basis that they had worked on. They also looked at the auditorium, excuse me, as another to rehab that. And that also came into about that $17-18 million to actually, it would actually be building a building inside the auditorium, basically. And so they've looked at also tearing down the city hall, building there. I think we've looked at various things, and it's just that if the council wants to narrow their focus, we did look extensively at the JCPenney site, and that, of course, when we did vote on that and took that off the table as a joint venture. So it's a matter of just focusing on a site, and after we decide, after there is a focus on what site in the future, then the way the plan would, what would have to happen in the future is we don't have a project risk manager yet. So that would be the next step when it decides what kind of site it's going to be, because that risk manager then works hand in hand with the architect on developing the construction plans and things like that, and walking through those processes, what's needed, and they look at it a little differently than an architect. So that's why they work hand in hand. So that's kind of the process after a site is selected, what we would have to go through then in the future.
I have a question.
Mike?
Have you heard any more about the armory situation?
No, I don't look for when we signed that letter of intent, it was a 15-year
Right.
outlook. So I don't think that we're going to be hearing much about the Armory for, sporadically, maybe once or twice a year at best.
Carl?
So I spoke out in favor of Block 50 last week at the work session, and I think we need to clarify or make sure that it's clear that looking at Block 50 would not take away the entire parking lot. It would take away, I think you said, 30 sites, 35 sites?
Mid-30s.
Okay, so up to 35, maybe at most 40 sites somewhere, yeah. The rest of the parking lot would not be changed. So people that use the cancer center, people that use the dentist, people that are going to the library would still have the vast majority of that parking lot available for parking. I just think we need to make that clear to the public.
Thank you, Carl. Yes.
I think also to add to the parking lot on Block 50, that improvement would be part of the whole building construction too. So the whole parking lot would get improved at the same time, because we know it's been on the radar for the city for a long time to improve that parking lot. And if the city hall would be built there, it would just be wrapped up into the whole project, because it would need to be, we'd want it all done at the same time.
Mike?
Some of the responses that I've gotten back about Block 50 is, of course, is the parking. They've said we've had such a miserable parking facilities or parking availability in this community for such a long time, and now you want to take away spaces. I mean, I've gotten lots and lots of messages like this. But they're just saying that, you know, please don't take away our parking spots. That's what I'm hearing.
And the parking study that was done, it came that it was about 40% of the parking lot was not used. So 40% of, I think it was 208 stalls is more than what the parking that the city hall would take away.
Just,
I'll just echo Councilmember O'Brien's comments, and I've received a lot of similar, comments from the public, concerns about the public has about those parking spaces. And I think that study can be accurate, and at the same time, their concerns can be accurate because it depends on when you're going down there. I was downtown last Wednesday that next morning right after our meeting, and so I was kind of paying closer attention than usual and took the time. There was 21 open spots Wednesday morning. So that would have been a time where had City Hall been there in those 35, 37 spots, plus the spots reserved, or taken by city employees, that would have been a real problem for people to find parking Wednesday morning last week. I think anytime the Barn Theater is going to do something, they're going to have trouble finding parking if we take, 30, 40 spaces away. So, I agree with Councilmember Schultes that we need to be clear. The public should be very clear, because I do think there are some people that still assume that whole parking lot's going away. That's not what we're talking about. But I think there are still concerns about losing 30 to 40 spots.
I got a comment. I use that dentist down there, and I've had some real issues trying to find places to park when I went to appointments there. And I've seen, of course, at that time, I seen a lot of people coming from the cancer center and the hospital and coming from the library, and we were coming in and out of that parking lot. So it was very busy time when I was there. I'll give it that. But like I say, I just don't know. And like I say, the people that have contacted me, not all of them, but a majority of them, again, are really concerned about the parking in Willmar, period.
I knew you'd come too pretty soon. Roger?
Well, thank you, Mayor Reese.
I don't-
I truly was surprised to see it on our agenda tonight, because I thought we had a conversation last week about the City Hall Task Force, and that,
The city,
the Community Center Task Force, thank you, maybe having some sort of information for us within a couple of weeks. And I find it right now hard I think the city needs to keep a presence where our current community center is. And so I find it hard to think that we should be making a decision right now. Granted, we've been around the circle, we've done lots of things, but until we hear from them and to see what we're going to do, I too am not sure that Block 50 solves our commitments. I've heard comments from a variety of things about improvements in downtown. I don't know that necessarily includes City Hall, but a commitment to downtown, those types of things. So I'm not ready to make a decision, and I would like to hear from the task force. Apparently, they have some things they want to share. But I also think we will need to make a decision when we're talking about these figures of, are we going to simply do City Hall, or are we going to work to do both of those, and what can we afford to do? So I'm not ready to make a decision, and I think we need to hear from them.
I had put a timeline on the community center task force of February 5th. but I doubt that it's gonna come to a conclusion by then. Do you, Justin?
I would agree with you.
So, we've got a number of things to,
If they aren't going to have a decision by then why are we asking them to come up with suggestions if we're not going to wait and listen to what their suggestions are?
well, that's what I'm saying. We just wait. Yeah, Justin.
I do think that it's possible that by February, the task force would have some information to share. I don't know how much. I don't know that it would be enough to allow the city council to move forward with anything. But yeah, waiting for information that, from the task force is waiting for information from other organizations. So I don't know at what point they could bring any information to the council, but I think if we can get even partial information from them, that's helpful.
They are meeting weekly. So, yes, Carl.
What is the charge for the task force? I mean, what are they, what's their task, I guess? Are they coming up with ideas, we want a new one, this is where we want it to be, or what is the overall?
Identify location and whether or not we're building or
Or renovating.
renovating.
Okay, and so they're just working on gathering information to make a choice for themselves on what they want to recommend to us.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, sounds like we don't have much to discuss tonight. We have 2 short council meetings in a row. Yes, Tom.
On the 9th, Councilmember Fagerly also brought up about maybe renovating City Hall and Community Center, save money when we're gotten that money. He was, wanted to take a look at if a 3rd floor could be put on there too. So, I mean, there's a lot more different options out there that the city can do. I know a few people wanted a decision made, like yesterday, but with the way the economy is going and inflation is up and down, I agree with Audrey. I don't know if the taxpayers can afford to be building 30, 40, or $30 million worth of new buildings right now. If we're gonna do that, and I think Rick Fagerly brought up 2 budgets ago, we're gonna keep spending, we're gonna have to look at layoffs. So, I think if we're gonna be spending $35 million, we're gonna have to maybe look at laying people off. Because the city of Willmar just can't afford it right now.
Well, I don't think we can afford layoffs either.
Yeah.
Yes, Justin.
To Councilmember Butterfield's point, Director Odens if taxes were not increased at all to pay for City Hall, Community Center, one or the other, both, how much money do we have right now? There's money that's been set aside already from previous budgets for City Hall. There's money in the budget that could be for debt service. And then there's $2 million from local sales tax. Do you know a total for that, or an estimate?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. As of now, after the 2024 tax collections, it'll be roughly $1.5 million allocated to City Hall. And then with the local sales tax, it'd be $2 million for the community center. So at the pace, it's increased with the tax base, but it's $555,000 for 2024 money coming in for City Hall.
Mm-hmm. And then how much debt, with that debt service, how much, like, if we were going to say we're not going to increase taxes a penny for these future buildings, what would be the top price that we could be looking at?
If you can give me just a
Yeah,
minute, I can run a
absolutely.
few numbers here for you. Yep.
should be music.
Just really quick numbers with the dollars we have already collected in sale, in property taxes. We're looking at around $10 million this is using the same, sheet that, Baker Tilly had supplied us a couple months ago, with our $1 million that we already have in reserves for City Hall at the 4%, and the debt service schedule will be for 30 years. So there are other factors that would come into play, but using that same sheet that was supplied to the council a few meetings ago, that'd be the rough, really rough number, $10 million.
Plus the 2 million for local sales tax, 12, if community center and city hall were going to be together.
That'd be correct. Yep, I was just looking at the, correct, yep, because that's already available.
Thank you.
Did we lose Julie? Julie, are you still there? We must have lost her. Well,
I got a question about the community center task force.
yeah,
Like the question was asked, are they trying to figure out whether they're going to build new or what they're going to do, where they're going to build it? Are they going to approach the board or the council when they get this information?
yes.
Okay. So we can expect them to come here and tell us what they have decided.
I would guess so.
Okay. And you give them till
That would be my,
February 4th,
I came to February
5th?
I keep stretching things out, and I think it might be the latter part of February. What would you say? It's hard to tell, because
really hard to tell.
it's not in,
It's a difficult question, but
Not in
what are the
our hands.
hangups? I mean, what's taking the long as
Well-
it is?
there are things that are happening that we don't want to disclose.
That's what I figured.
Well, Mayor?
Yes,
So the community task force only really started mid-December, and they have been meeting every week since then. And of course, they are looking, also trying to be very thoughtful in using the taxpayers' money and how that is being used. And so they're looking at alternatives too. And if there are other joint ventures out there that could be probably collaborated with. So that's, and so when you're trying to do that, they can't get the answers right away when you're trying to work with other entities. So they're not just looking. So basically, I would say they're not looking like, because I think they could have made the decision 2 weeks ago if you wanted to say, well, where do you want to be?
Right.
And if you want to build new, where do you want to be? They could have had that done for you. Because they really basically almost had that done, 2 weeks ago. But that's not what they're looking for.
Well, it's good to know because I was thinking that it should have been done 2 weeks ago. So,
Yeah.
okay.
So if you want an answer on where they want to build new, they could give it to you.
all right. Any questions? I think we're done.
I think, okay, so for our clarification, and I think this is why this is on here tonight, because we didn't have a clear direction last week as to what the council wants. If you want us to engage BKV to give you a price on what it takes to add another or do a structural design idea on the old city hall, we need that direction. If you want BKV to look at anything else further to engage in, I need that direction. If you're satisfied with everything, all the information you have, and you just want to continually mull this over, which is fine, because I think we already know it's anywhere from $16 to $30 million. So until you decide on a site, or if you want a joint venture, So I guess I'm looking for clarification from the council.
Tom?
Well, I think we still have to wait, like, on January 9th, the workshop meeting on page 9, the bottom paragraph, was we came to, decided to wait on any decision until the community center task force submits its findings to us.
Right.
So basically, I think that's where we're at. We're just in the holding pattern, gonna wait back till we hear what the task force wants to do. We don't know if they wanna build brand new, remodel, repurpose, you know, where they wanna do, if they wanna do a joint city hall, community center. So we have to wait on them, so we're not wasting their time, because they may have come up with something different than what we've been talking about. So I think we just have to put everything on the back burner until we get more information from the task force.
Vicky?
I almost feel like it's our job as council members to decide if we want it to be joint or separate, because that's a big price difference. I think we are the ones responsible for the financial part. I don't think it's fair to make the task force decide if we want to be together or separate. That's just my thought, but.
Audrey?
I can agree with what Vicki is saying. I think there will be more than one decision that has to be made, but we put that task force in place. And I think until we listen to that, we may have to make a decision that we can't afford to do a new community center and build a new city hall. That may be one decision, and then the second decision will be, where is it going to be? But right now, we put that in place, and I think we need to respect that and look at that as an option before making a decision on just City Hall.
Okay. Anything else? If not, I'm gonna close the meeting. You okay with that? All right,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
we are adjourned.